Thank you.
Join the chat, I guess. There we go. Oh God.
We can
Did I do
see how
something?
well this is going to work. I gotta see if I can get the thing to pop up on Facebook really
Oh,
quickly.
it's live in the corner. Hello. Hello, everyone. I believe so.
Ah,
Wait.
there's an echo because I had YouTube going.
Oh no.
No, yeah, that's not gonna work.
Oh no.
It smells good, but huh, I don't think I can get that to work. And greetings, readers and travelers. My name is Richie Stevens, and I am one of the hosts of Chattin Stats. And today we have a very special episode because not only is it a Halloween special, it is also the very first cold read that I will be doing with my lovely partner here, Miss Jessica 3, which you are over here on my screen, so I better go that way. So, Jess, why don't you introduce yourself for people who don't know who you are?
Hello, everyone. I am Jessica Threet. I am a narrator. I work with many different publishing houses and companies and all of that stuff. And I'm very happy to be here. I'm so excited. We
It's
had
gonna
this
be a good
idea,
time.
what, at Dragon Con? Is that
At
how we?
Dragon Con, we
Yeah.
kind of talked about it and everything to
Mhm.
say, hey, this would be a fun
A few
idea.
drinks in.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. I didn't drink at Dragon Con this year.
Oh, well, I did.
Well, yeah, but that's fine. I just,
No.
I have this thing about because everyone's like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy you a drink. I'm gonna buy you a drink." I was like, "Guys, I don't really drink. Like, I'll have a drink every once in a while, but when I'm in a
Yeah.
public space, I'm already anxious enough. I do not want to drink."
I gotcha. I
So,
understand.
but yeah, it's kind of fun. And I was trying to get Steven to join us, but he's
Well, he's
not gonna.
watching. He's here in spirit.
But this is kind of fun because
I'm very
tonight
excited.
we I was more excited, and then how do I put this? I realized I got shafted on my part here, Steven. Come on. I've
Oh,
got
because you don't have as much?
no, I have like a couple paragraphs, and that's it.
Oh, that's fine.
So I got to make Jess do all the work tonight, I guess. So, but we have a short story from the Dungeon Valkyrie universe, which is one of Stephen Landry's
Ooh,
upcoming projects, and he's been telling me about it. I'm really excited about this one.
that'll be
I
fun.
can't wait to see who actually is going to narrate it and the full finished product because, oh, it's really good. I need to pull the link to his Patreon and post it in the YouTube so people can go and read this or
Heck
some of
yeah.
his other short stories because he does something called Monster Monday and Werewolf
Ooh.
Wednesday. It's just a fun little thing he does over on his Patreon. So I definitely highly recommend people go over and support him because we love Stephen. He's an amazing author. And also, congratulations to the both of you and Jeffrey Falcon Logue because you guys just had the release of Station Company Core 3 on Audible last week, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, like sometime in the last like week or two. Yeah, it was like very recently.
Which if you guys haven't checked out Station Company Core, I highly recommend it if you love a good sci-fi lit RPG because it's good. It is a
I
little
loved
creepy.
I loved the story. I thought it was really cool and I loved the world building.
It's so good. It was one of the stories that when it first came out on Kindle, Zeckler, one of our mods, was like, "Hey, Steven had a new book come out. I know you love Stardivers. Here you go." I was like, "Oh, cool. I'm gonna read this." And then the audiobook got announced of, "Oh, hey, Jessica Threet's doing." I was like, "All right, cool. Well, I'm gonna reread this again." And now I've just been so excited. And I did finish book 3. It is phenomenal. You did an
Woohoo!
amazing job. So
Thank you.
5 stars. If you guys need a book to go read this holiday season, ah, Grayson, I see you on the Facebook. Follow the link in the description. Come over to YouTube so we can see your comments because I can't see your comments unless I switch back to Facebook.
Yeah, join us.
But we love you, Grayson Sinclair. You absolute delightful being. Jess, how was your Halloween so far?
Pretty I worked this morning and then I went to the Halloween parade in New York City for a little bit. Hello, Ryan.
Ryan!
Ryan's trying his best to get me set up in their system at Sound Booth and I am failing epically.
I love Ryan Reed and the Sound Booth Theater team.
Yes, 1000%. I'm very excited. I just cannot get my Microsoft account to want to work.
And
Geneva,
he's
hello.
over here complimenting us.
Oh,
We
we're
love
so excited.
Ryan.
But yeah, how's your
Hi,
Halloween
Geneva.
been?
Oh, it was good. I was at work and I came home and now we're doing this. So
Yeah.
that was my big plans.
Yeah.
I think I
I
watched a
you
couple
didn't
episodes of
get
The
the
Rookie.
memo to dress up though. What happened?
No, I don't do a lot of Halloween stuff because how do I put this? I'm poor.
You can easily do like Scott Pilgrim out of like a
Okay, I
t-shirt.
could. I just don't have one available at the moment because
That's fine.
laundry needs to be done.
That's true. I get it. No worries.
We had to give the
I
cats
happened to
baths
wear
last
this
night.
for Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween, so
See, there you go. You
it's
have,
the
but
molest.
also you have the plethora of costumes.
I
So
do. I'm a nerd. I'm a big nerd. I have like literally like a huge storage tub bin that's just filled with
and here's the comments
things.
about my fucking mustache. I was gonna try to be good
Hey, I
this
tried to
episode.
grow one with you, but I failed.
Oh no,
So you're doing much better than me.
they hate my mustache, which
Aw.
I just forgot to shave. So it's
It's
just the
fine.
lighting. It doesn't work. But we're going for the
I forgot to
spooky.
shave too, but my legs you can't see in this camera, so
Exactly. So I forgot to shave my legs too.
hello, everyone. So excited that you guys are
Hello.
all here. I hope your Halloweens
Grayson.
are going well. Hopefully none of you lit the black flame candle. Or if you did, that you're not a virgin. So
Okay, Geneva, I didn't ask for your sass tonight, okay? I got enough of it during Guildify Con, and you're not here to, punish me with banners this time. So, suck it. So, cold read. Should we go ahead and dive
yes.
in? Because, I mean, it's not a very long one. So
It is it's not no, it's not too bad. It shouldn't take too long, but it's very exciting.
It is, and even though I shafted on my my part, Steven.
Well, we gave you some parts.
We did give me
So
some parts. I gotta look through the
we'll
highlighted
find out what
sections
that
real
is.
quick.
It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Trick or treating with a sprained ankle and a rum and coke. Oof. Oof. Oh no.
Guildify Con. Jess, you should come to Guildify Con
I
next
would
year.
love to do Guildify Con. I didn't know it was a thing until it was
I told you
2 days.
about it.
I know, but like I didn't know about it until you told me about it, which was really close to the time of it happening.
Ryan's got my back. Take that, Geneva. No, she even got Dan to bully me.
Oh,
Daniel
no.
Wisniewski was bullying me.
Yeah, I think we're gonna do Lit RPG Con. Yeah,
I am. I will be there.
yeah.
We're trying to.
Oh no,
convince...
Sorry, I put my hand too close to the candle and it burned off my hairs.
Jess!
It smells like burnt hair in here.
But Geneva, Ryan loves me too. So.
Oh man. Daniel is a perfect gentleman. He is a perfect gentleman.
He was. He was just mean to me, but he apologized.
Oh.
And I know he was kidding. It's all good.
Yeah.
No, what RPG Con? I know the stats crew will be there. Joel,
That's awesome.
Other Jess, and myself. And obviously, hopefully, Jessica 3 will be joining us. We're trying to figure out if we could do a live episode.
Yes,
that would be fun. Do like
I love that
panel.
I love that.
But yeah, we don't
awesome.
kink shame, only Richie shame. That was the motto of Guildify Con this year.
I will not shame. I will not join the shame party.
See,
like I said, when we were doing the fantasy festival thing, when I had the whole you have to be roasted, I kept saying, you're gonna be roasted like a marshmallow, which means I'm gonna compliment you instead. I cannot do that. So
we hope to see you there. And Joe, there's no banner this year or for this because this is stats, not Guildify Con. Which Jessica? Co-host Jess or Three?
Both.
Because we love both and we want more both on this. Which I mean, Jess, you'll be joining me monthly. So.
Yes. Yeah. Monthly readings. So
Yeah.
excited. Yeah.
And that's a great motto.
Yeah.
Ryan. I'm not even popping those
Before
up.
we
So,
get too many feet, do you wanna pop into this, and then we'll have time for more banter and chaos
yes, let's
afterwards?
pop into this because we're having a blast here.
Yes. All
And
right,
if you were
everyone,
watching
get
on
ready for
Facebook,
spooky.
click the link in the description. Come over to YouTube so we can see your comments because I know there's some
Yes.
comments going on over there. I saw Uncle Troll over there and Brandon Bernard. So come on over. We would love to see your beautiful comments. Unless
Yes.
you're commenting
Would love
feet
it.
emoji, because I hate Ryan. I hate Ryan. He portrayed it. No.
You break Richie.
Yes, I know it's an honored tradition. Fine. All right, so we'll go ahead and dive into this and have a good time. So, like I said,
And
this
now a
is a.
story submitted by the Midnight Society. Anybody who's a millennial will know what I am quoting.
I know exactly what you're quoting.
Great.
So, this is Mothering by Stephen Landry, a short story set in the same world as Stephen's upcoming series, Dungeon Valkyrie. I hope you enjoy it. The original appears in All Hallows Eve, the anthology, edited by Ulo Quince and Jeffrey Falcon Logue. There are many stories about the bridge, the one that lays in ruins across from the old cemetery, mysterious and vague. From the tale of lovers disappearing in the dark to stories of monkeys climbing into a woman's back seat and causing her to crash, her child left inside as they ran off the bridge in the middle of the night. Other stories tell of a woman throwing her half monkey, half human child off the bridge. Hanging herself for what she did, she calls out for her lost one, night after night. Another tells of a creature that kills any woman who comes near, stealing their children and devouring their essence. A demon, a dungeon, a pestilence. Small, starving, ancient, and not of this world. Born from dark ether, violence, and rage. Beware the monkey woman.
Mother told me to always stay away from other people. She said they were infected, diseased. She said there was a plague going about and that if I caught it, I wouldn't be able to breathe. She said she told me that so I would understand my place in this world. This new beginning. Everything had changed. At first, there was fire, then floods, then tornadoes and hurricanes. The worst of it was the pandemic. Hundreds of thousands were dying while millions were getting sick. People argued about what to do about it, while others ignored them all. Families were falling apart. Lives had become ruined. And all of that was before the riots and the collapse that followed. Gaia had had enough. Ether leaked across the world from the sky, and everything went from bad to worst. There was screaming as the woman, young in her 20s, blonde hair, blue eyes, carried me out of the house. That night she promised, "I will keep you safe," adding a moment later, "I never lie," as she held out her pinky finger for me to lock onto. I remember thinking she was the most beautiful woman I had ever seen, promising her back, "I will keep you safe," smiling. A pinky promise, the kind that bound us together forever, the kind of promise a parent could never break. I was tough. She had said that. Everyone I ever met. They would whisper about the world I was bound to inherit and told me I had to be strong. I had to be a leader. Her hands felt cold and I could see sweat and tears running down from her eyes. A pinky promise can't be broken, I reminded myself, wondering what was happening. Why were we leaving in the pouring rain? She told me I was too young to understand, promising again to keep me safe. I placed my black mask with yellow stars over my face. I hated wearing it. I didn't see any reason to wear it when there was no one else around, but she had been wearing hers all day. Sanitizer burned small cuts on my hands as I buckled myself in. I remember feeling fear. Scared. my legs shaking as if I knew something bad was coming for us. It had been a brutal winter. The worst I've ever seen, the woman had despaired, and she wrapped me in a blanket and handed me Benji, my stuffed fox, and we took off into the night. I was hoping we were going to get food. I was hungry and had eaten all the noodles from the day before. We had been driving for less than half an hour when the rain stopped and the wind started howling around us as white pebbles fell from the sky. She called it a hailstorm, but it looked more like space dust to me. I tried to count how many fell. At first, it was only a few. After I made it to 10, there were hundreds, thousands. I could hear the pebbles banging against the roof of our car. Or was it a truck? I can't remember. Some of the details aren't fresh. I do remember one piece of hail, about the size of a baseball, hitting the front windshield so hard it cracked. Our car swerved left, then right. I held onto my fox, Benji, tight. The road was wet, and though she had always been careful, we drifted into the sidewall of a bridge. My whole body tensed as we hit. But I was all right as she turned to check on me. Benji had fallen down under the seat. I was reaching down as she grabbed him and handed him to me. The front of our car was covered in smoke, though it was barely visible as the pebbles continued to fall from the sky, turning to ash. She was screaming again, trying again and again to start the car as it continued to stall on the bridge, saying words I couldn't understand as she slammed her fist into the steering wheel again and again. Another car was coming up behind us. "Stay here. Stay quiet," she instructed me, opening her door. I unbuckled and climbed over the bags of clothes sitting next to me. "Help!" she shouted, waving her arms in the air. The car sped by without stopping, splashing her with water. I started to laugh as she climbed back into the car. When she yelled at me to shut up, I stopped laughing immediately. There was a pressure that surrounded us, one I can't quite explain, as the smell of earth came through her window and under my mask, wrapping itself through my nostrils. I closed my eyes and pictured myself playing in the garden and making mud cakes and mud pies. The smell of lifting a rock and seeing the roly-polies scatter. I loved the smell of it surrounding us. "I'm sorry," she apologized, looking back at me. "It's okay," I affirmed, smiling under my mask and taking another deep breath. I was lost in my own world, imagining myself alone in my garden. I didn't care that she yelled. The pebbles continued to fall from the sky, and I saw in awe at what looked like little blue and green fairies fluttering across the road in front of our broken windshield. It was getting hotter inside as the lights inside the car began to flutter, and the wind howled and pushed against us. "Nobody has any decency anymore," she lamented, taking another deep breath. She scrambled, looking through her purse, trying to find her phone, but we had left so fast she had forgotten it. "We're on a bridge. Someone will have to stop to help us get over," she assured me, "and we'll call for help." We sat there for another 15 minutes in silence, as I followed the wisps with my finger until they disappeared into the darkness. In the shadows, I saw something move. On four legs, a creature. Not a dog, not a wolf or coyote, and much larger than a cat. I let out a scream, tearing off my mask, and tried to hide myself under my seat. Grabbing an inhaler from the glove box, I felt her arms reach around me. Cold hands as she grabbed the back of my head and placed the inhaler into my mouth. "Breathe. You're okay," she counseled me. I could feel my chest tightening. For what felt like forever, I thought I was drowning. following the wisps as my eyes started to roll into the back of my head, until finally I pushed her hands away. "There is something outside!" I screamed. "No, honey." She tried to reassure me. "It's the storm. It was probably a squirrel or something." Just as she said that, the lights in the car went dead. "Darn it," she cursed. "It's the battery. It must have been knocked loose when we... Oop. It must have been knocked loose. Hello, let's rewind and go back.
You're doing great.
It's the battery. It must have been knocked loose when we hydroplaned." Her eyes ventured back to the front of the vehicle. The entire right side of our car was up against a steel rail. The smoke had stopped. I knew we weren't going anywhere without help. The car had been totaled. The frame dented, wheels bent inward, probably a broken axle. The car had been old anyway, with as many lights on the dashboard as were on the radio. All of it was dark now. With what little light we had came from a blue glow stick she had taken from the glove box. Staring out into the darkness, I followed the fairy lights again and watched. I could make out a small cemetery. Afraid, I sank back in my seat, gripping Benji tighter in my arms. I took another few seconds, and then I looked out again. Another car came up behind us. This time, it was driving slower than the last. "Help at last," she sighed, planting her head back on the cushion of the seat rest. A moment later, she opened her door, and I heard the sound of a baby crying. "Don't go!" I cried out, clenching Benji tight in my arms. "Do you remember the story of the brave knight and the dragon?" she asked me. "Yes," I confirmed. It was my favorite bedtime story. The story was one I will never forget, engraved into the back of my mind. It told of a young knight whose family had gotten really sick. He ventured far and wide, but he couldn't find a cure, until he stumbled upon rumors of a living dungeon that thrived on the rivers of life. Venturing into the abyss, the knight was weak against traps, skeletons, and evil ogres that called the dungeon home. But no matter how many times he was forced to retreat, he always ventured back. Each time, he grew stronger and stronger until he found himself face to face with the dungeon that was... until he found himself face to face with the dragon that was the dungeon itself. The dragon listened to his plea and gave him a vial of healing elixir. For the dragon, last of its kind, had watched as the knight never gave up and never retreated. In return, the knight promised one day to return. And return he did. After healing his family and living many years in happiness, the knight returned with children of his own. Together they kept the dragon company, and his children's children, and so on. The dragon was never alone again, and the dungeon became not a place to be feared, but sacred, to be revered. It was one of those stories I was told just old enough to understand. I was also old enough to tell myself that it wasn't real. I have to step out now. Be brave. I will return, she said. The car went by her, and she fell to the ground. I could hear the cry of a baby in the distance again as I tried to open my door. The safety lock had been on. I slammed my hands against the window, screaming as a man came out of the car. I recognized him. It was a monster, a real one, not just the kind you find in games. He had been the reason we were running. Climbing over the middle console, I opened the driver's side door and stepped out into the cold. Shivers ran down my arms as the hair on the back of my neck stood up. I was scared, terrified, but I was brave. "Get back in the car!" she shouted, crawling towards her open door. The man was walking towards us. Dark, red wisps of energy seemed to surround him as the hail continued to fall. Her mask was hanging down below her chin as she screamed at me to get back in the car again. "I'm not scared of you!" I shouted, loud as I could. The figure stopped. The woman stood up and came limping towards me. She picked me up in her arms and pushed me back into the car and then into the passenger seat before slamming the door and locking us inside. The man beat on the window and screamed, "Monkey woman, monkey woman, monkey woman, save us!" I heard the woman whisper as she covered me with her body, tears falling from her eyes over my head. A moment later, the man stopped beating on the window. The screaming stopped. I could just barely recall a story she had told me one Halloween night. The tale of the monkey woman. It was an old folk tale, one lost in legend. It had been told and retold in many different ways. Some said the monkey woman was a ghost, a Pontanaic, a woman who died a violent death while pregnant or in childbirth. Others believed she was a guardian. The story I had been told was about a man who had taken a woman to the bridge and attacked her. With his window down, the monkey woman grabbed him and dragged him into the creek below, drowning him. Perhaps it was fated that, of all places, we had crashed here. Our car stalling on the bridge. Tears stopped falling from her eyes. Tears stopped falling from her eyes as she turned and saw the man was gone. Yet she didn't breathe a sigh of relief. Instead, she climbed over me and opened up the back seat. Inside the trunk of the car was Grandfather's hunting rifle. She checked that it was loaded and whispered for me to cover my ears. Her eyes focused on the outside as the wind began to howl so loud it was deafening, even with my ears covered. She laid across the back seat, pointing the rifle at the window. I started to say something when she held her finger in front of her mouth, shushing me. I gripped Benji tight and reminded myself I was a brave knight, that I was safe. I imagined myself back in bed, reading comic books or playing video games. I had slain so many monsters. This was just another day in the park. My mask was my armor, my blanket, my cape, Benji my familiar. The two of us together were a party. I was the daring rogue, hiding in wait in the shadows, and she was the mage, her long wand in hand, ready to vanquish any foe. A scratching at the back window, louder than the wind, made both of us jump as we looked back. This wasn't a game, and I didn't feel very brave. I didn't want to know the source of the sound, and yet I couldn't stop myself. I told myself again that I had to be brave. I had to keep her safe. I had made a promise. 4 claw marks ran straight down across the center, and the car jerked suddenly, as if the wind were blowing straight down over the top of us. And just as suddenly as it came, it disappeared. The shadow of a creature disappeared into the darkness. I could see the red wisps again hovered over the man's body as he lay across the ground. Blood mixed with the melting hail as he lifted his arm towards us. He wasn't dead, but the creature had used its nails to tear out his organs, and one of his eyes looked like it had been torn from his skull. He would suffer. The wind stopped along with the hail. For a moment, there was silence. "No, not now. Not here," she cried. A bright flash lit up the night sky, and I could see the clouds funneling around one another. It was the calm before. Growing up in Tennessee, I knew the sound I had heard. This time of year, any time it stormed, there was always the fear that something like this could happen. This year, more than ever, though, it seemed to happen more and more. Already, entire cities had been ravaged. We had only been stranded about 20 minutes. The storm was rising in our direction. Rain, followed by wind, followed by hail, followed by the rage of Mother Nature. Gaia had turned her eyes on us. The sound of a train roared near as lightning hit the ground with a loud, deep, thunderous bang. It echoed around us, and we both knew inside a car was not a safe place. A tornado had touched down in our vicinity. Grabbing the glow stick and tape, she quickly taped the glow stick to the rifle in under a few seconds and grabbed me by the hand. I let go of Benji and my blanket as they fell to the floor of our car. She kicked open the door and held the rifle against her shoulder. The car moved a foot away from the steel rail as the wind pushed against us. I couldn't hear her words as she pulled me towards the woods. She hadn't seen the creature.
New quest. Survive.
I don't know what it was. Words appeared in front of me as she dragged me by my hand down under the bridge. Frantic, she looked around at the dried creek, and that was when I noticed that she was limping, that her left foot had been smashed in, and that her leg was bleeding. "Do exactly as I say," she commanded, leaning down towards me and fixing my mask. I could hear her coughing, her breathing heavy as she fixed her own. I could hear the car moving across the bridge again as the tornado came closer. The roar of a train, louder and louder. She pointed towards a small opening in the jagged rocks that made up the creek bed. "Here," she directed, leading me into the darkness. I didn't want to go. I could sense something was wrong. This was just like a game, only worse. We had no spare lives, and we had no idea what was coming for us. The sound of the tornado was the worst as it thrashed above us. But we were safe. The blue light of the glow stick taped to the rifle illuminated a path that took us deeper and deeper into the darkness. "Be brave," I reminded myself, still holding her hand as she moved through the cavern. "It won't be long. We can rest here," she offered, leaning back against the wall. That was when I heard the call. A soft whisper in the darkness that sent chills down my spine.
Mine.
The voice demanded.
Mine.
It insisted. "Not yours! Never!" The woman stood up, holding her rifle high. She had let go of my hand to better brace herself.
Mine.
The voice called out again. It was soft, like the woman's, but older, fragile. The voice sounded like it hadn't spoken in years. "You can't have her!" The woman called out again, this time firing into the darkness. The sound echoed around the cavern, and for a moment I felt like I lost my hearing. I felt cold, colder than I'd ever been in my whole life. I coughed and felt a tightness in my chest. "Not now," I thought. "I have to be brave." Fear had taken complete control of me as a figure approached us out of the dark, lit by the blue hue of the glow stick. She looked like an older woman, crawling on her arms and legs. Its skin was gray, like some kind of ghoul. It was skinny, too skinny, with ribs sticking out that looked deformed across one side of its body. Its breasts sagged and swung in the same pattern as the small tail that hung down from behind it, curling slightly on one side. Its neck was unnaturally long as it tilted its head up towards us once again, cackling the recurring word, "mine," as the rifle clicked. Nothing happened.
You called for me.
The ghoul reminded the woman, defiant. Again, it spoke in such a way that made it seem speaking words caused it pain. "You aren't real! I was just scared!" the woman shouted back.
My child.
The ghoul cried again. "Never!" she shouted back. The ghoul came towards us and attacked with its long nails. I was pushed back as I watched the ghoul's feet twist backwards. Mother held the ghoul off with the rifle, using it to strike the creature in the face. It retreated back into the shadows as she took another bullet from her pocket and began loading it into her rifle. I could see what looked like yellow wisps of energy surrounding her. She looked like she was glowing in the darkness. The woman that fought back the ghoul. The hero. Back towards the entrance, she urged, pushing me backwards towards the still raging storm.
Dying!
The ghoul crooned, pointing towards us, its long gray arm barely visible in front of the rock. I could hear the woman coughing next to me as she limped backwards, her legs still bleeding, her pants completely soaked in blood. It was a deep cut. I could see her skin turning pale even in the blue light. The side of the man's car must have cut her somehow as the tires ran over and broke every bone in her left foot. How she was still able to move right now was beyond anything I could comprehend. The yellow fairies that fluttered around her, I realized weren't fairies at all, but wisps of energy. Her life was fading as she fought to keep me safe. None of this seemed possible, and yet here we were, face to face with a monster that shouldn't exist. Back near the entrance to the cave, I could hear our car slide and fall off the other side of the bridge. The creek was starting to fill with water again. It wasn't so dried up after all. Somehow I felt like, far away, some kind of dam must have broken as the water began to rise several inches very quickly. Not enough we were going to drown, but high enough we had to climb up several rocks to stay dry. The woman spit into the current as it began flowing over her broken foot. She kept her rifle against her shoulder and finger just to the side of the trigger as she held her rifle with one hand and my hand with the other. "Rest here," she consoled me, as if I were the one hurt and tired. She continued to stare into the darkness. The ghoul, the monkey woman had retreated, for now. But it was only a matter of time. On one side of us, Gaia was raging, and on the other, a monster was waiting. We had no choice but to stay vigilant. I fell asleep, cradled in her arm. Waking up beside her, I noticed she wasn't breathing anymore. I pushed her body and watched as she fell on her side. Her skin had grown ice cold. I had failed to protect her. And in that moment, I felt nothing but a burning hatred in my heart. I grabbed the rifle from her hand. I had been taught to shoot just a year prior when we went on a trip to the Appalachia, but still that didn't stop my hands from trembling as the blue light began to fade, and I walked slowly, deeper and deeper into the cave. I reminded myself again that I had to be brave. The night never seemed to end. Perhaps it was the end of the world. We had slipped out into the dark. I wasn't sure where she was taking us. I just knew it was away from the violent man. And I knew I was sick. I could feel it in my lungs, like a weight had been placed on my chest. I wandered deeper into the cave until I saw the green glow of light. More fairies, wisps of energy circling around, showing me the path. The cave seemed endless. How deep was the monkey woman's lair? And more importantly, where has she gone? I walked through mud and water until I couldn't anymore. Shrugging back against the rock wall, I climbed up onto a ledge that was dry, only to slip and fall into a crevice. I felt like I was falling forever. I picked myself up off the ground and felt my head spinning. My hearing had been impaired, as if I was underwater, and I was nauseous. I checked to make sure I was still all there as the front of my head pounded, and I opened my eyes. I saw the yellow wisps had turned red around me. I knew danger was near. I realized to my horror that I was surrounded by tiny bones, skeletons of children, and other skeletons slightly larger from teenagers. I could remember hearing stories on the news of remains found at campsites, bones carried by creek beds throughout the county. I even had a friend who swore they found an arm once. I thought of how many missing child posters I had seen hanging on stores, and I felt terrified. How is this happening to me? Why? Tears were running down my face again as I tore off my mask and folded it around my wrist. I didn't need it anymore. I knew I was infected. I knew I was dying. The cavern walls were closing around me. And once again I thought to myself, you must be brave. Hearing a sound from the darkness, I followed a red wisp, with my rifle aimed at it in the cold air. I could hear a creature breathe. I could hear a creature breathing and knew somehow that something was there. With my one shot, I fired.
Aberrant rat. Plus 150 EXP.
The words appeared in front of me. I was hallucinating now. That had to be it. Not a good sign. Another red wisp floated in the air in front of me, and I pulled the trigger again. Nothing. I should have known better. The rifle was nothing but a useless piece of wood. Still, I held it with both hands like a weapon, promising myself I would yield it like a club or a staff or a sword should anything come near me.
Mine.
The word echoed around me as I crawled back over the skeletons. I could feel bones turn to dust under the weight of my body as I backed myself against the rock wall. The wall was warm, warmer than it had any right to be. I turned, looking at it, and saw it wasn't a rock at all, but a large, crystalline gem.
Mine.
The creature was closer now, and I could once again hear the sound of babies crying. It jumped over me, and I felt its claw dig against my chest. I pushed back, and the creature stood up tall as it could. The ghoul was at least 7 feet tall, with elongated arms and legs I now could clearly see. The red wisps, the fairies surrounded it as another set surrounded me. My whole body felt like it was being split, atom by atom, until exhaustion overtook me and I blacked out against the warm gem.
Mine.
The words echoed. I awoke to see the yellow lights of the fairies flying around me. Cradled in warm arms under my soft blanket, I felt safe. I felt as if I could feel the cavern walls inhaling and exhaling around me, in sync with my every breath. The rifle was nowhere to be seen. Neither were the skeletons. Yet, I could see my belongings I'd had in the car spread across the ground where the skeletons had been. Sitting against my leg was my stuffed fox, Benji. I reached forward with what little strength I had and snatched the fox in my arms. A soft whisper spoke in my ear. I will keep you safe, little one. Mother will keep you safe. Mother never lies.
Woo! That was good.
The end!
That was good. That's a fun short story. Steven did a
That
really
is
good job on
great.
that one.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah,
if
that's
he's in
really
the chat
great.
right now, but no, that was a lot of fun.
Woo! That was awesome.
So I'm really excited for Dungeon Valkyrie after reading
Yeah,
that
that'll
because
be
this is just
great.
set
I'm
in the
really
world.
excited.
This is just set in the world of Dungeon Valkyrie. This isn't even the actual main story.
Yeah.
So that's where I'm like, oh boy. So I am excited.
That was fun. Ah, Stephen wrote his amazing. Yay! Thank
Yay!
you.
And of course, my buddy Hunter sent me a snap of him watching us do our live stream. So Hunter, I know you're watching. Love you, buddy. Thank you. So that was fun. And happy Halloween, Steven.
Happy Halloween. Happy Spoopy Day.
It is spoopy day, and I love it. We had to get the right atmosphere going on in here because
1000%.
it's been a minute since I've done an episode in the booth.
Yeah,
I moved
yeah.
everything back in here, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do the episodes in here from now on. It's gonna be a little harder to make eye contact with the camera because I have to look up, but
Yeah.
it is what it is. And I mean, Addie and I are still probably in the process of moving. We're just waiting for everything to kind of wiggle itself out before I have my new booth.
Woohoo. Well, that was a lot of fun. I was really excited. Also, we turned off all the lights so it'd feel a little extra spooky. We could have had on our booth lights, but we were like, you know what? It's Halloween. We should do candlelight and computer light only.
No, it was a really good time. I had a
Yeah,
lot
that
of
was
fun with
fun.
that.
That was really great. I
So
love how I went to stop the recording when I messed up the first couple times because my brain automatically went, oh, punch and roll, stop, rewind, record. And I was like, oh, I'm not recording. This is all live. Cool.
it's fun. Not every episode of Cold Reads will be done live. We
Yeah.
will probably have some that'll just be, posted for fun little snippets of things and all of that fun jazz
Yeah.
and whatnot and hoopla, everything according to, I don't know. I'm just rambling at this point.
Yeah.
So
Well, I did make a few mistakes, but it was like, it's fine.
it was good. It was very clear.
I had a long streak at the beginning. I was proud of that. I was like,
You
wow,
were
this is probably
going
the longest
hard.
I was like, this is probably the longest I've ever gone without making a mistake while narrating, but it's probably because I was like, pressure, I'm live.
And then, like, while you were in your spiel, I was like, okay, I have time real quick. I ran to the bathroom and shaved really quickly because
Oh,
Geneva was
I didn't even
bullying me.
see that. I didn't
Yeah.
even, I mean,
I muted
Nice.
myself. I turned my camera off and I was like, oh, I'll be right back.
oh my God, that's great.
So, I got bullied. What do you know?
Aw,
Peer
no
pressure.
bullying. No bullying.
But no, that was a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun, and I'm very excited to see what we have in store. I got to reach out to an author really quickly because I want to do an expert from their novel because it's cozy, and I think it would fit for Thanksgiving.
Cozy.
Because it's our buddy that we hung out with at Dragon Con that I told you I was going to message.
Oh, yeah. I got you. Cool.
Very popular on TikTok.
Yes, very much so. Yeah.
We love them. They are wonderful.
ASMR.
So I'm really excited. Oh, hey, Zekwar's here. What up, Zek? I thought you would be in the World of Warcraft raids right now because you guys raid all the time. But it is Halloween, and I have not looked at the Discord. So yeah. I don't know how we're gonna take submissions. I mean, should they message me? Should they message you?
I mean, I guess we could either do it to where we could have so if any author or just novice writer who wants to give it a go wants to send us a little short story, we would say, I guess, try and keep it under 30 minutes or so.
Right.
Or an excerpt from a book that you want to have read or something. We would love to do that for you guys. Either
Give
I
me
guess
more voices, please.
we can submit, I guess, if you want to email one of us, that would be fine. I don't know if you guys have an official email with Chattin Stats, but
we do. I gotta remember what exactly it is. I think it's just chattinstats at gmail.com. CHTTIN stats. No G on chatting because we're not that cool. We are the improper way of doing it. So chatting. So yeah, let me double check because I know it's in our Discord. I can at least do that.
So yeah, we can do that. And if you guys want your stuff done, we would love to narrate for you. Give us some fun voices. Give us some crazy times. I think what was the one funny one from last time when we were doing Bruce's that happened that was gonna be like a really goofy short story, but it was like cozy harem something nonsense.
Oh, I don't remember.
But it was like nonsense. It was like a hot, I don't know, it was like a hot dog. I don't know. I don't remember it at all. If anybody remembers, let us know.
Email is just chattinstats@gmail.com. Okay. So we are
email chattinstats@gmail.com and maybe put in the subject line short story submission. I'm still live, babe. No, I'm good. We're almost done. That's my boyfriend, everyone.
It was right. Hi.
But yeah, just email us and I guess put in the subject line short story submission or something like that. Probably be smart. Or live
And
story submission.
I'm gonna butcher your name, so I'm just gonna say 1871. We should have our links up on our page. If not, I will fix that tonight because I have a few things I can get done before I,
Yes.
do it. But we'll just on X or just X.
Yeah, if for any reason that doesn't work, chattinsets@gmail. Also, you can email at jessicad3@gmail.com and I'll make sure that the proper peeps get the emails and
Or
all
just
that.
like shoot me a message on Facebook. I'm
Oh
in
yeah,
the Letter
Facebook,
PG
yeah.
page on Facebook, just Richie A. Stevens. Which
All the
it's
smart stuff.
it's right here. Just with an A after my name because middle name. Not saying what my middle name is because I don't want
Aaron.
to. No, close, but no. Um, I'll
Close
tell
to
you what
me.
it is after the episode.
It's Aaron.
Yes, it is Aaron. Richie Aaron Stevens. All right, that fits. Keegan Michael Key would probably be proud of that one. Um, but I have a fun few ideas of what we could do. If you are
Yay.
going to submit something, we just ask that you keep it. How do I put this? PG-13. There can be some
Yeah.
romance in it. We just don't want the spice.
They can be a nice jalapeno,
Yeah,
but
we don't want
nothing
like
more spicy than that.
we don't
If
want some like
if it can
stuff
be
you would see in a.
broadcast on network TV, that's fine.
Well, that's I mean, depending on the channel, because
That's why I said
eh,
network.
okay.
HBO is not network, that
Well,
is, like,
FX
premium
FX is
channels.
network,
That is
but they
network
FX is
now?
network, yeah.
Oh, well,
So
okay, well,
we'll
get
just
some
put like a nice
American Horror Story out
PG-13.
there.
Exactly.
PG-13.
Yeah, we'll just
That
keep it.
means you can put 2 F-bombs in there. If it's
Yes.
PG-13, you can have 2 F-bombs.
And we love a good F bomb, especially if they're strategically placed. So, But just anything you would see in a
Yeah.
PG-13 movie is okay as long as it's within the bound of human decency. Because we try to be appropriate. I know I
Oh,
have a potty
definitely.
mouth, but we try to be appropriate. So we're okay. You know what? You say only one. We're gonna bump it up. I'm gonna
We're gonna make
double it
it
and give
2.
it. I'm gonna double it and give it to the next person. We're gonna make it 2. Jess, before we end
See.
tonight's episode, what's a dream role? Like a character you would love to do a voice for, or like a
Oh, God.
scenario.
Oh, well, that's hard because I just saw the musical Death Becomes Her this week,
Mm,
and I cannot wait for 30 years from now when I can play Helen, because I wanna be Meryl Streep in that musical. The character that Meryl Streep plays from the movie in the
yeah.
musical, it's phenomenal, and it's hilarious, and she gets to be a little insane during part of it and goes, "La,
I
la,
just
la."
want to play Bruce Willis's character in that
Oh,
because he's
well, in the musical, he's hilarious. He's
see that would be
hilarious, and he does
fun.
a lot of, like, patter songs. It's fun. It's a great show. I totally recommend, but I saw that this week, and so, like, that's now my new dream role thing in the future. All I can think about is when you say dream roles, like, "What's a movie that I wanna play?" Or, "What's the musical that I wanna be
Or
in?"
a character you want to voice. Like for me, I really want to do one of the Greek gods. I don't know
Oh, yeah.
who. I know when we talked
I've
about
done
when
some already.
yes, you
I've
have,
done
and they're
them.
fantastic.
I don't know. Listen, I have to do so many women that have to be a romantic interest, therefore I can't have a super insane voice, that
Right.
anytime I get to do a voice that's not that you can definitely tell is not gonna be a love interest, I'm so happy because I get to go ham with it. I'm doing a character, that they were like, "Oh, she sounds like smoking cigarettes doesn't even put her to shame," and I basically am doing, like, a really, like, New Yorker version of Roz from
I
Monsters, Inc.
love it.
And I'm like,
Oh,
"Oh god, how are you doing? Hey there, don't even talk to me about this." And I'm like, I love it so much because I don't get to do the crazy, insane voices that often.
okay. I love that. I am gonna repeat what you said. The vibes I give, which is Hermes vibes, more
Yes, you do.
specifically
You give me Hermes vibes.
Hermes from Hercules, the
The
Disney
animated movie.
movie.
Yes.
Which then, with Maddie sitting in the car with me, goes, she straight up called you a twink. So
That's not what I meant. He's like such a good side character in that movie.
oh no, he's fantastic. Even in the animated series, he is
Yeah,
just a
yeah.
delightful character. And also he is one of my favorite Greek gods, and we have a cat named Hermes, so
Well, there
it
you
just
go.
fits, and he's a little stinker. But
Aw.
no, I really want to do like either Verizon or not Verizon. What am I thinking?
Verizon? You wanna
Yeah,
do Verizon?
Hades, Poseidon, or Zeus. One of the big three.
Nice,
Ares, I don't
nice.
think I could really pull off just because he big strong. I small.
Mm.
I
I would
small.
love to do, like, a modern version of Medusa. I think that'd be kind of an interesting
Hi, JD.
story.
You missed it. I went and shaved halfway through the episode. So, yeah, I gave it back because I
Yes.
got bullied.
Yep. But, yeah, I think, like, Medusa would be if we're speaking, like, Greek kind of stuff,
And
like, I
any
think
like
yeah, I know, but, like, I just wanna be a superhero in real life. Like, I
true,
wish I had powers.
right?
I would love to do a, like, Agatha all along type
I need to go
thing, like
finish
a
that.
really badass witch. I would love to play a badass witch. I would love to play a really cool, like, superhero that has a crazy, like, backstory. I think that it would be really cool to do a modern, like, Medusa myth. I think that'd be really cool and everything. Um, yeah.
I was gonna say, you know what? I could see like a multiverse or like animated series Wanda Maximoff. You could
That'd
pull
be
that off.
I would love that so much. I
Ah,
love that so
that'd
much.
be
Please,
fun.
please, please, gods that be, please. Also, like, I want more than anything to narrate one of those the Disney Twisted Tale books
That
so
would be so
much.
cool.
I wanna do
I really want to do the Hades one.
I just wanna voice stuff for Disney so bad. If you can't tell from my Vanessa from Little Mermaid costume and most of my TikTok, I'm a Disney adult and I just want to do stuff for Disney and voice stuff for them. The end.
And of course I have Donald just chilling behind me.
I
So
know. You got Donald. I had Grogu, but I put him to the side so that I could display my Halloween vibes.
so we're just giving JD some hype in the chat real quick.
Woo, 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 woo.
But I just thank you and happy Halloween. This was such
No.
a fun
Thank you.
time.
Thank you. I'm so happy we like came up with this and that we're going to start doing it.
It's
I'm
gonna be
so
a lot of
happy
fun.
everyone that is here. Thank you so much for being with us for our inaugural cold reading. Yeah, I loved it. I'm so happy.
It's gonna be a good time, and I need. I'm just gonna go ahead and say I'm gonna message Marshall because I really want to do an
Yes.
excerpt from like "Son of a Sailor," just
Yeah.
because like that would be a
I
lot
love
of fun.
Marshall.
I do too.
Yeah.
He's
For
such
those
a
of you who don't
delight.
know who we're talking about, Marshall J. Moore is a writer of sci-fi fantasy and cozy fantasy. Some of his books are the Pale City
Over
trilogy,
at
as well
Shadow Out Pressed, which is
Shadow Alley Press.
fantastic.
Yeah,
I cannot hype that series up enough. I
yeah,
got the
it's really
first book
cool.
at Dragon Con last year,
Mhm.
and I love it. And then
Yes,
this year I picked up Son of a Sailor because I did read it
yeah,
when it was coming out. I need to pick up Pirate Queen, which I think is the second
yeah,
one.
yes,
Oh,
yes.
it's the
So,
series is just so good, and it's that nice, cozy, like, fantasy
mhm,
that I
yeah.
love.
I
So
know. And also, Marshall is one of my oldest friends. We knew each other and we're friends in high school. We did theater together. I have such embarrassing photos of him as well as he has embarrassing photos of me hidden in our various Instagram, not Instagrams, Facebooks, and actual real photo albums. And I love him dearly. And we reconnected over the last I think it was 2 years ago we reconnected, when I found him on my TikTok, and we've, gotten to hang out a few times when I've been in Atlanta, and I just love him dearly.
and
So
that's how I found out that you were coming to Dragon Con was because I commented on his video, and you were like, "Oh, I'm gonna be there."
oh, yeah, I remember that, and then you commented, and then we started chatting it up,
Yeah.
so yeah.
Which, I mean, you've been on the show before. This is
Yeah,
what, your 3rd appearance now, of many to come because we had you on for
yes,
Jez, then we had you on for Bruce, and
yes.
now this. So 3. You're gonna
Woohoo!
beat Daniel's record because he's, like,
Yes.
been our most, like, probably populated,
Yeah, of
uh,
course.
or
Well, he's very
reoccurring.
talented and very
Oh, we love
popular, so
Dan. We love
yeah.
Dan, and Dan did agree to the February show for the game
Ooh.
show that we're gonna do.
Oh my god, yes! Okay, cool, cool,
So,
cool.
for those who don't know, we are in the worst. February is going to be Harem Month, And so we're going to talk
Love on
about
love on love on love.
we're going to talk about lots of love. It's going to be our spicy stuff. We have a new show with co-host Jess, who she will be starting Stats After Dark, which will be a new segment where we have, talk about romance and stuff like that, where she will be the main host of that one and have different guests on because, we want to give her time to shine. Joel is currently working on a couple of show ideas, and I'm
That's
excited to see
awesome.
what he comes up with. This was my show idea, and I love it. It's a lot of fun, but we have a game show. We're going to do a dating game show,
Yes.
and
Aw.
I think
Thank
it's going to
you.
be I think it's going to be a good time.
Do
How do
we
you
get to
explain?
know what my plans are for the night? My plans are to go in the next room where my couple of my friends are sitting. They just got back from the parade, and we're gonna drink some vodka and eat some pasta. That's about and watch a scary movie, I'm sure.
I
'Cause
am
what is
going to be
Halloween without scary movies?
I'm going to be going back to work on Eldritch Knight so I can get that finished up and we can get that out to
Woohoo!
the world cuz I am very excited. But yeah,
Yes.
so we don't have a date for our next episode. It'll probably be towards the end of the month, probably right before Thanksgiving, just
Yes.
because we want to make sure we get something for the holiday season.
Yep.
So it might be in 3-4 weeks. We don't know,
Mhm.
but let us know what you want to see coming up. Submit stuff to us, like I said, at chattinstats@gmail.com or message me on Facebook, message Jess, submit stuff. We'll read through it. We'll see what's up. We'll put a list together and try to go from there. Uh, we got a
If
message
you have
commercial.
something that's themed to a holiday, even better, because we thought it might be fun to
Yes.
do, like, some themes for holidays, so
I want a really badass Christmas lit RPG where Santa just goes on a murder spree
So,
of the
basically, like the movie that came out, like, a year or 2 ago with,
the one with David Harbour,
Mr. Hop yeah,
Silent Night
I was just gonna say
or Violent Night.
Hopper. I was yes.
David Harbour. I love that movie. It's actually a lot of fun and it's getting a sequel.
Oh, fancy. But,
So, but I'm
yeah.
sure if we asked Steven, he could write something creepy for
Oh
Christmas,
gosh, that'd be
Krampus
awesome.
involved.
Krampus, yes! I love Krampus.
So,
I mean,
but
it's fun, but
yeah, on that note, I think we should call it a night so you can get to your holiday
yes,
festivities and
let's
I
do
can,
this.
go. So, Jess, where can people find you?
You can find me at Jessica D. Threet on all social media platforms. My website is the same, but at www.jessicad3.com. That's about it. Or if you find me on a train in New York City, but that's about it.
And then you can find me at Rich Adolphus on Twitter or just find me in one of the many lit RPG groups on Facebook because I am constantly active. You'll see my actual name on there, which is Richie Stevens. But yeah, you can find me at Rich Adolphus on TikTok as well, where I rarely post stuff once in a blue moon. I'm trying to post more, but I am bad at it because procrastination at its finest with me. But thank you everyone for tuning in and for people
Yes,
who are
thank you.
watching the video afterwards. I hope you had a good time, had a happy Halloween, and are just enjoying their evening. Thank you all and have a wonderful spooky night.
Mwahaha.